Hello, this is Angela with Parkrose Permaculture. I'm sitting in the backyard of my Portland, Oregon permaculture garden in Zone 8B. It is very hot and sunny today, again, as it has been for days and days. I am spending a few minutes working on resting in between meeting after meeting after meeting and getting a little bit of inkle weaving done. Even when I'm sitting and trying to decompress, I'm working on things because that's how I am. So I owe you all an update. Several folks have kindly asked how the community effort to stop the diesel freight warehouse from going in our neighborhood is proceeding. And so I feel like it's a good moment here to pause. I have lots of gardening videos stacked up that I need to edit and get out to you all, but I have not had the time because I have been I have been focused on working with members of the community and working with local government to try and find a resolution here, working on advocacy and research and things like that. And it's just consumed all of my time and I've not had a spare moment to sit down and get video edited. For those of you that don't know, at the beginning of the year, I decided that I really need to engage more with what was happening in my neighborhood. If I say that I'm about local connections, sustainable community, then I need to be involved with the neighborhood association meeting. The first meeting that I went to, there was a presentation from Neighbors for Clean Air where they talked about this diesel freight warehouse and the ability to prevent it from coming in and causing terrible harm in our community. If you don't know, diesel pollution causes cognitive impairment in children that can be permanent. Cognitive decline in the elderly, increases risks of asthma, cardiopulmonary disease, and cancer. You can't smell diesel pollution, but my neighborhood and a lot of East Portland actually has diesel particulate matter 4 to 6 times the limit. We are in the 95th percentile or above. We have worse diesel particulate pollution than 98% of Americans. Despite being green, progressive Portland, our air quality is very bad in my neighborhood. So we can't have this further injustice, right? Looking at an overburdened, underrepresented, underserved community and ask that community to bear even more of the burden by dumping even more diesel pollution directly on top of us, right? So I figured I am somebody with time. I need to give to this cause. This is in alignment with my permaculture ethics of earth care, people care, and fair share to fight this. I have the time, the resources. I don't really have the time. I have the resources, the education, and the privilege of being a white middle-class homeowner in a neighborhood that is predominantly, folks who are renting, folks who are systemically disenfranchised. And I have every asset that has allowed me to prosper. And so I want to give back in that way. So I thought that I was joining a coalition or group of interested nonprofits and community leaders, and that I would just be assisting them in doing things like making photocopies and handing out flyers. That I'm just going to be a little worker bee in this community effort. And it has not turned out that way. What I have found is that I've gotten way in very deep, and that I have a hard time saying no. And I also feel like there's a deep need here. This is an injustice that we cannot allow to happen. We have found that folks in city government are unwilling to help. They say we cannot stand in the way of development. And that's very true. The laws in Oregon are very much in favor of private property rights and big business. There is very little environmental protection and very little in the way of actual codes for environmental justice and protecting overburdened communities. So Portland local city laws have all kinds of aspirational mission statements like social justice, racial justice, environmental justice, but the actual code itself is incredibly friendly to big business and does not protect citizens. And we found that our city council is really reticent to step in because they don't want to tick off the businesses that they need to court. In fact, they've offered a 5-year property tax waiver to Prologis for coming in and poisoning our community. So the update is that we have not had an ally in our elected representatives whose salaries we pay and for whom we voted, asking them to represent us. We have heard from them, but basically they aren't willing to do anything. The answer is, we can't find a way here. We can't find a path forward to help you. At the county level, myself and the school board president spoke in front of Multnomah County commissioners this morning, and the feedback is much the same. Like, we can't really figure out a way to help you. We're really sorry. This is a terrible idea. It's a terrible injustice, but there is just a lack of regulation. There's a lack of actual law in Oregon that allows us to step in and stop it. So we recognize this is an active harm that will impact your community for the next 60 years. We recognize it is a terrible idea. We recognize it is an opportunity cost that will be devastating to you all. Nothing we can do. So right now we are working on organizing. More than 5,600 people have signed the petition. We have, dozens and dozens and dozens of people that are coming together to work on this issue to find a solution, because it is nonsensical to us to think that there is no way we can stop this. There is no way, not only that we can stop Prologis from coming in and bringing unbelievable amounts of harm to the community. Again, the harm is not just the increase in traffic that our roads cannot sustain. We've had 2 pedestrian deaths next to the high school in the last several months where they were struck by cars. This will bring diesel big rigs on the route that our kids walk to school on an unsafe road. We are looking at high levels of diesel particulate pollution 15 feet from a low-income apartment complex and directly across the street from the school. Our kids are going to be forced to suck down diesel fumes so that Prologis can profit. One of the largest warehouse companies in the world and one of the largest property owners in Portland. Why is it that they want this grain of sand property in their huge investment portfolio? Why is it that they want to come into a residential area when their other properties are not in residential areas? Why they want to come in and cause active harm to our community? Why are they so desperate? Why can't they just let go? They have a thriving multi-billion-dollar business. Why do they need to foist themselves onto a low-income community of color? Why? It makes no sense to come in directly across from a school, and yet they're consistently pushing. So for us, our strategies are continue to pressure government to find a solution. There are things that the Multnomah County Health Authority could do, that the Bureau of Planning and Sustainability could do. They are, from our understanding, from my personal understanding, they are a kind of authority that has not previously been exercised, and therefore no one wants to test it out here. No one wants to get sued by $1 billion corporation. And speaking of lawsuits, Prologis has a history of being sued. In fact, in Carson City, California in 2021, their warehouse had illegally stored toxic chemicals. A fire broke out at that warehouse, and hydrogen sulfide gas was leaked into the community and into the watershed. It will cost millions of dollars to clean up. And Prologis is saying, not our fault, take it up with our tenant. So LA County and residents are currently litigating a lawsuit with them. There are other lawsuits, including another one in California where Prologis is based, where the city acquired land that Prologis previously owned, and the claim in the lawsuit, I will link down below to the article. This just came out. The claim in the lawsuit is that Prologis knew that they had contaminated the site through whatever toxic chemicals they were storing, and they hid that. So we'll see how that goes in the courts. Prologis is incapable of being a good neighbor to Parkrose, just by the very idea of making a huge profit off of poisoning children slowly, poisoning the elderly, and the tremendous opportunity cost. We want something better for that site, right? That's a 13-acre site within the urban growth boundary. When you talk to folks in the community, we all envision something on that site that will prosper the community, build a robust local economy, bolster the identity of Parkrose as a neighborhood built by immigrants, right? And that will provide for a greater community, sense of community and connection and opportunity. A giant diesel freight warehouse with an absentee landlord does not increase safety. In fact, there are studies showing that those kinds of properties actually increase crime because you don't have local business owners who are connecting. One of the things I focus on in this channel is I talk about community connection, neighbors connecting with neighbors, building local community, building a thriving local economy. building those connections makes you more resilient, makes you have less crime, makes you have a stronger economy and better able to weather difficult times. So this giant out-of-state corporation wanting to slam a huge polluting warehouse in the middle of our community is the antithesis of everything that I stand for and everything that I understand about building resilient communities, about building strong, robust communities, and having a better quality of life for residents. So for me, and I know many of my neighbors here in Parkrose, we dream better for our community. We dream of prosperity. We dream of improving the quality of life. The livability, walkability, enjoyability of Parkrose should be more than it is. And we don't understand why the city doesn't dream that for us as well. The city appears to prioritize big business over the residents that they are sworn to protect and advocate for. So that's how it feels right now. If you're interested in working with our coalition, we are not giving up. We are continuing to partner with multiple nonprofits who have given all kinds of wonderful advice. We are continuing to pursue all avenues. We would encourage you to write not only to City Council, who seems very rigid and unwilling to help, but also to Multnomah County Commissioners, also to Governor Tina Kotek, also to our Congressman Earl Blumenauer, and our Senators Ron Wyden and Jeff Merkley. So I'll have all of their contact information below. If you have ideas or insights, you can email us at the coalition email. I'll also put that down below. But also just feel empowered. Write those letters to the editor. Write to the Oregonian, the Willamette Week, the Portland Mercury. Write to anybody who will listen and let them know that we are an organized community with the support of, all kinds of nonprofits, all kinds of groups, and who want to serve East Portland, want to serve Parkrose, and dream of a better vision for us than what Portland City Council has dumped on us. So we continue to fight. I feel like I would not be living out my values if I didn't engage in this work, even though I realize that it takes time away from my family. It takes time away from other ways I could be increasing my own security, right? The amount that our neighbors are expending to fight just to prevent big business and city government from harming our neighborhood. We're not even trying to make us have an improved quality of life. We already have high diesel pollution, high cancer rates, high asthma rates. We already have a tremendous amount of opportunity cost. We have, a drug use and prostitution problem not very far from where I live. We have tremendous poverty and a lack of planning for helping citizens and improving the quality of life here. We're not even asking you to bring up the quality of the neighborhood and make it better. All we're doing is fighting, spending tons of time and energy and effort just to make sure that they don't drag down our safety and our health even worse than it is, right? That's so discouraging to hear that that's the way it could be, especially when I look at things through a permaculture lens and I see that if we had used permaculture design principles, if we had ethical politicians who prioritized really conscientious design and prioritized the lives and well-being of citizens over things like freight traffic and corporate profit, the city could look really different. But I'm not going to give up on that. I'm going to continue to be a hopeful person and not be discouraged. So that's the update for now. I hope that was helpful for you guys. If you have suggestions, please leave them down below. If I'm a little bit slow to post, that's because I'm dealing with a lot of things in my personal life, and also this advocacy is really important. I'm willing to put out fewer videos and bring in less income for my family. I feel like that's a sacrifice that I'm more than happy to make if it can have any chance of helping my community and the children in our schools. So thank you so much. Don't forget to click like and subscribe and check out the ways you can support the work of this channel down below, and check out all the ways that you can connect with your elected officials and let them know your concerns around this issue. Thanks.